Hi, hello.
Hello?
Is this Mike?
Yeah.
Hey, Mike. This is Tommy Bryson. How can I help? By the way, the call's been recorded, potentially uploaded. How can I help?
Uh, just I got just basically one question about
Okay.
growing a YouTube channel.
Okay.
So I'm interested in starting a kind of like a finance channel. I'm currently an accounting major. I'm transferred to Baruch this
Cool.
fall, and I'm wondering how did you kind of get started on YouTube, and like how did you make a schedule, and like I know when you started you did daily uploads, right?
I did. When did you start watching me?
A while ago. I think before you hit 100K or
Okay.
around 100K.
So that was like a lot later. So that was like maybe like on year 9 or 10 of me doing YouTube. So basically,
Okay.
sounds like the question here is, Tommy, I'm an accounting major. I'm about to go to Baruch. By the way, I was on a transfer to Baruch when I was doing the college thing. Baruch
Yeah,
is
I
a
saw
great
your
school.
video on that yesterday. Just yesterday I saw it.
Yeah, it's a great school. If you want to do accounting, it's very competitive, and they can find you a great job. So Baruch it's an excellent school. As far as doing YouTube though, and getting into the finance sector, what I initially did was I just tried out a lot of different things with my first channels, which were many. But when it came, for example, to finance, it was all just basically about doing something that I wanted to do, right? I actually liked it. I was good at it, and I knew it had the perspective to actually make me money in the future. But the one thing with YouTube is in the very beginning, if all you're doing it for is money, then you're probably gonna quit midway because you're doing so much work. It can take you a year, it can take you 2 years, it can take you 9 years or 10 years, and you might not see a single dollar. So the goal is to pick something that you actually like and then do all the research possible to kind of know exactly how to lay the dominoes in a way that they're in your favor. Because although YouTube is more like it can happen, but it's not just like pure luck. You can do things that make it so your videos can have the most possibility to actually be watched. For example, when uploading a video, the most important thing is basically having a set schedule so your audience know when you're gonna upload. I uploaded like every day, I think for like 2 years. Before that, I did like daily vlogs also for a while. But daily content is just a way to kind of get your videos out there on every single piece of real estate when it comes to the finance sector. So the goal was, at least for me, was the first 2 years that I did daily content was to make sure that every time you looked up a topic involving finance, you would find me. You would find me. You would find me. And it was not about getting the most views or trying to go viral, but it was just about giving people value and giving them, for example, a new perspective or a better, simpler perspective. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a lot of work though. So if you want to do that, that's fine. If you want to post, for example, 3 times a week or twice a week, that's also fine. But you got to read books on YouTube, and you got to get started now. The thing about YouTube is that every single moment you don't get started, it becomes harder because there's somebody else that made the decision to actually get started. Now they're your competition. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So some basic tips about YouTube is learn about. There's a great guy. His name is Pat Flynn. He has a book on just like social media and just like building a business as overall. It's called 1,000 Super Fans. And it's a basic idea telling you that you don't need, for example, 1 million subscribers or 300K subscribers, or even like 100,000 subscribers. You can do it with like 5,000 or 10,000 or even 1,000. Doesn't really matter. The goal is to, if you're building an audience, if you have 1,000 people that are going to be ride or die with you and they buy everything that you actually sell because they know the value behind it, well, 1,000 people, and you have a service, for example, let's just say $20 per month. Well, 20,000, that's $20,000 per month, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why you don't really need that many subs, or $20 per a product, and you sell a product, for example, every 3 months. That means every quarter you get $20,000 also. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So you don't really need like all the subscribers, all the stuff. All you need is just to come in and add value to the entire thing. When you're uploading content, learn about SEO optimization. Engagement is very important. So learn how to communicate effectively when you're talking to people. That way you can actually get your message across the best way possible. And that's all it really is, you know. It's about optimizing it, making sure you're engaging, communicating with your audience, making sure your market is on point, making sure you're building an actual audience in the community, not just, for example, trying to get views, understanding what viral content is versus evergreen content. That all comes, you know, after you start. Like what I would want you to do, bro, Mike. I don't know you, but if I were you, and I'm doing Baruch, and I'm Baruch is very competitive, by the way. So it means it's a hard school. It's not easy. So you have to study and all this stuff. So if you're gonna be doing accounting there, the answer is Monday to Friday. That's my main thing. But every single hour that I have extra, I'm dedicating it to YouTube. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I would just start with whatever I have, and then slowly just keep building. You have any debt?
Probably like 4K in student loan. Right now,
Okay.
I'm going into like my third year. I'm transferring. That's why.
Your third year, so you got 2 more years left.
Yeah, depending on how the credits transfer and all that.
Okay. On question, did they give you a scholarship?
For Baruch?
Yeah.
No, but like with the financial aid and all of that, I'll basically be getting paid to go to school.
All right. So
I'll
don't
be
look at it
getting
like
like a
that.
refund check and
Okay.
all that.
Don't look at it like that. Just make sure, for example, that you're gonna graduate 100% debt free. Who do you live with? Your parents?
Yeah.
You do you work?
No, not at this moment, no.
Okay. So college is about basically a few things, right? And the first thing is just basically getting good grades, and that's like what people think is most important. But the most important thing is, for example, making connections. So making connections with, for example, with your professors, making connection, for example, trying to get an internship, and making connections also with your classmates, because those are going to be, for example, future employers and also future employees, so they can get you jobs and connections. So if you want, for example, you can have three things on your plate, which is basically school. And by the way, this means, for example, when you're in school, when they give you a refund check or whatever it is, make sure all the money, because sometimes they give you like a refund check, but then
Yeah, yeah.
you still are getting student loans. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So make
yeah.
sure you're paying for all this stuff, bro. The goal is to graduate 100% debt free. Since you live with your parents, your only expenses are basically just like transportation to go to school. If you want to help your parents, that's fine. So the second layer is get a job, right? So make sure they can actually like graduate 100% debt free. So I would get a job today and start tackling this $4,000 you have in student loan debt. So that way you start off clean. And then the third part is YouTube, right? But then once you're debt free, and you can say, well, I know for a fact I'm going to graduate debt free because of all this help I'm getting from financial aid. The answer is I would transition into an internship, whether it's paid or not paid. Because the main thing is school is cool, right? But you ever notice that whenever you get a new job, like they train you all the way over?
Yeah.
Because the actual experience that you actually get working is different from what you see in school, right? It's just like the basics there. So once you're debt free, for example, or if you can get an internship that pays you some money, get that internship, work for somebody, whether it's for free or paid, and just get in the door and start working, for example, as an accountant. Once you graduate, if you want to do like the whole CPA thing, that's cool. But do you have to? The answer is no. But it does help you if what you want to pursue is a whole career in accounting.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if I want to like the whole career going into the Big Four. But I know that you graduated in accounting. So what did you do right after graduation? Right after you graduated?
Right after I graduated, I got a job that had nothing to do with accounting. Because what I didn't want to do was basically, when I went to school for accounting, remember, right, I was 17 years old. I graduated early. So when I picked accounting, I picked it because basically somebody told me that accounting was a good degree. That's the only reason I picked it. I picked it the incorrect way. The way to pick a degree is to do all the research possible and weigh all your options, at least 10. Look at the growth, look at what it takes, look at how much it makes you, how long it'll take you. Do you actually like it? What the day-to-day actually is? Does it involve your strengths or not? That's how you pick a degree. But I picked it based on, hey, it's a good career, I'm gonna go into it. That's how most people actually pick it. When I graduated, I never ever, school was always a plan B for me since I was 11 years old, right? Because I've been doing YouTube since I was 11 years old. So my goal was I wanted to make YouTube work before I said I'm gonna go into this full-time job as an accountant. But remember, right? My situation is different from yours because when I was working, for example, doing data entry, I was making $6,000 to $8,000 per month for my side business, right? And then I was also trying to make YouTube work. So my dad passed away. I quit that job and I just focused on my small business, and I basically just focused full time on YouTube. And then YouTube happened to kind of pop off, and then eventually, because that was my plan, my main plan, I was able to kind of like drop off the small business and just focus fully on YouTube. But it's important, if I could do it all over again, I probably wouldn't have wasted my time going to college, right? But that's me personally. It gave me a certificate that shows people that, hey, this guy can be trusted or whatever. But 100%, 99.999% of all the information I know, it comes from all the books I've read about entrepreneurs and investors and people that actually know what they're actually talking about. But in school, what I've learned there is just not really that much. Like, it was a great experience, don't get me wrong, but it didn't really apply that much to my life, if that makes sense.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but again, you gotta understand something, bro. You can't use me as an example or anybody else as an example, because the odds of me being where I am, for every person that makes it on YouTube, there are maybe like 100,000 or even more that aren't making it whatsoever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you have to weigh your options. I was willing to sacrifice everything, but I wasn't stupid. I had a business making me a lot of money also. And I used the skill that I got, for example, from accountant, to go to small businesses and offer my services to make me money also by using that skill. So I didn't just waste a degree. Does that make sense? So what I don't want you to do is to go to school, graduate, and then be like, I don't want to use it, because that's just stupid. You're wasting money and you're wasting time. That's not what I want. So, and that's not what you should want either. So if you're going to do accounting, your goal should be to get into the top 4, because that's what you're doing it for. And also do, for example, the YouTube thing on the side. If eventually the YouTube thing basically grows into this massive, and by the way, you have to have a massive why to do YouTube. So why do you want to do YouTube?
Well, I'm into like the whole into finance, like personally. Like I like budgeting. I'm always looking at my stocks, my investments, my crypto investments. I do that on a daily.
But YouTube is not about you, bro.
No, I know, but I figured I would be able to teach people about it as well, and then just monetize that.
Okay, so tell me. I don't know anything about money. What can you tell me?
Well,
what do you recommend I invest into?
And I got this from you, the Vanguard ETF, VOO. It's a safe investment. You could use it it goes over time, and if you start investing early, the compound interest will be massive when you decide to take it out, hopefully after you retire.
How do I take it out?
Depending on where you invested, let's say you invested it on Robinhood, eventually after the years go on, you would retire, and then you would take it out of the Robinhood account.
Here's my thing, right? My why to do YouTube was I wanted to help people manage their money better, right? I wanted to be that one video somebody watched and all of a sudden they're interested in money and finance. So it never mattered to me how many views I got, because as long as I got one view and I helped one person, that meant everything to me. And I understand that, by the way, different people on YouTube do different things for different reasons, right? And I understood that basically when I gave somebody advice on YouTube, it wasn't like, well, I'm going to post this video first and I'm going to make money second. It was always, I'm going to help somebody. I'm going to give this person advice, as if it were, for example, my mom or my brother. So you have to have a responsibility, a level of responsibility here, because when you start to become a YouTuber, you posted maybe like 100 videos or so, and people trust you and so on, you want to make sure that trust isn't wasted on you. And you want to make sure you do the best in your abilities to say like, yo, this is what you should invest into, but here's where this information comes from, and here's why it's going to work. And on top of that, if you talk about crypto and all these things, remember, you can niche down, but when you're trying to talk to the masses and the average person, that's not what's best for them most of the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So make sure you're doing
Yeah.
it for the right reasons, bro. And make sure if you're gonna do the whole school thing, make sure you're trying to be the best at that also. It's not about like slouching all the way through. Because you can do YouTube for the next 2 years and it can become nothing. So you gotta make sure the career you're gonna pick is not just based on money, based on something you like, you're good at, and it's also gonna make you money. Money's just an extra. So if you're accounting, by the way, this is your third year, right? So that means you weren't doing accounting before, were you?
Yeah, I was doing that. I was doing accounting at SUNY New Paltz. Well, I was in SUNY New Paltz with a pre-major in accounting, and then I
Yeah,
had
but
some accounting classes.
the first 2 years are usually like general education most of the time.
Yeah,
So it's not
yeah,
you're not really diving deep and stuff like that. So
yeah. I wasn't deep into taxes and
yeah.
shit like
So
that.
my thing is, man, I would just probably just like go back to the drawing board for right now, like for today, and just I call this a rule of 10. Write down the top 10 things you would want to do as a career, right? Like a real career. YouTube's like a business that's separate. It's not a career really. So write down the top 10. And you say whether it's accounting all the way at the top or whatever it is, write down the top 10, do all the research on them, the growth in the industry, why do you want to do them, the day-to-day, look on YouTube, people talk about their experiences there, look at how much it pays, how long it'll actually take you, what the best companies are, what you'll have to do, who you'll need to know. Do like a whole research paper on this stuff. And then you cross off 7, you leave 3, and the last one you actually select is the one that necessarily doesn't make you the most money, but it's the one you like the most. It's important you don't set yourself up for failure, because the goal is if you do YouTube for the right reasons, you can monetize it, yes, but if it's not being monetized just yet, it doesn't matter because you're still having fun doing it while you're still having fun doing the job that you actually want to do. The problem with your whole scenario here is that you might not want to do accounting. You go into accounting, you graduate, you hate the job, you're trying to make YouTube work, but if it's not working and you're also hating your job, you're gonna just be just trash. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But if you pick a career that you actually love right off the bat, that's gonna make you money also, and you're also doing YouTube, when you do get that job, you do get that career, you're still having fun there. You still love it, right? And by the way, love is a very strong word, and people think like when you're getting a career, you have to love every aspect of it. It doesn't work like that. Your parents don't even love every aspect of you, right? It's just the way things are. So the same thing with the career. You might not love every single aspect of it, but there are parts you actually love. Like you don't hate it. That's the whole point. So you do that because you enjoy it. You're also doing YouTube also because you enjoy it. And if YouTube turns into something like massive, not like by magic, but by you doing all the research on YouTube, understanding the algorithm, everything else, then great. If the income reaches a point where it makes you so much money and you want to quit, that's fine. But I know people on YouTube, for example, I think the guy's name is the average, I think the average bagel or something like that, or the plain bagel, I don't know. The plain bagel, I think. The guy still works like as I think he's a financial advisor, I think. And he still does YouTube at the same time because he loves his job also. That's the point. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Since you're at the bottom right now, how old are you, by the way?
19.
Yeah, bro. Since you're at the bottom right now, right? It's the perfect time for you to build something that you're going to love, right? Life is not about finding yourself; it's about creating yourself, right? So you have to create what you're gonna love. Set yourself up for a life you actually like. Don't go into a career you don't really like. You're not that sure about. Make sure you know what you're doing. If I love a career so much and I wanted it so much, I would want to be the best at it. I would want to do the whole internships things. I would want to have a job inside of it. I would want to go for the main four or whatever it is, Deloitte or whatever it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question, right? Do you want to do accounting?
Honestly, I know I want to learn accounting. I know I want to be like the way I see accountants. I see them as the people who could look at financial statements and automatically value a company and stuff. Like
Not
they
true.
know,
Not true.
they know numbers.
Not true. Not true. Not true. Not true. Not true. Not true. This is why you gotta do research, bro. You can't just base things on feelings and emotions and all this stuff. Accountants do not know how to value a company. The skill of accounting can help you value a company, but investors know how to value a company. Warren Buffett knows the language of accountant, and that allows him to go ahead and learn how to value a company. But the normal accounting that you're going into is not invest in valuation accounting. That's completely different. You got to understand this stuff, man. You can't just go into something with all this fluff stuff. So understand, if what you want the language of accounting for is for investing, you can get the textbooks, you can get all that information, and for example, just buy the books and learn that and get into investing. If you're doing accounting, most likely the accounting you're doing is for taxes and companies and clients to do their taxes, to help them with their tax loopholes, to help them with the depreciation, but it's not really about valuing any companies. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit. But I was looking at one of Warren Buffett's one of the talks he does when for his company, the
Yeah.
Berkshire Hathaway conferences,
Mm-hmm.
and they had asked him what what major or what do you recommend for someone trying to invest, and he said he'd recommend them majoring in accounting because it'll teach them the language of business, like you just said.
Let me ask you a question,
So
right? Again,
yeah,
does this sound similar to what I told you initially? I went into accounting because somebody told me it was a good major. Bro, it's your life.
yeah,
You feel me? It is
yeah,
your life. It's not just based on what you heard Warren. And I have Warren Buffett on my wall, bro, with his picture and everything. But Warren Buffett is not me. He's not gonna live my life. I don't want his life either. You have to make the life that you want. So you have to do your own research. You have different skills. For example, I know how to walk, all right? I can walk places, but people can use that same skill to learn how to do a bunch of different things in the Olympics or whatever. It's just a whole different game. The way Warren Buffett describes things is the accounting language to help him with investing. Started investing at around 11 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Went to Columbia to learn about finance. And then when he got back to Omaha, then he wanted to basically learn about the language of accounting. And he learned all about that stuff. And he implemented that stuff when it comes to investing. I might have gotten things like mixed up here and there, but that's the whole idea. Everything that Warren Buffett learned was to add on to the skill of investing. So you got to make sure the examples you're using are going to be comprehensible to the life that you want to build. I'm not telling you not to go into accounting. What I'm telling you is to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, and not just basically because basically you watched a 18-minute video or a 40-minute video that's going to decide the next 40 years of your life. Does that make sense?
yeah,
You have to do your own introspection. Find out why you really want to do this thing and find out all the information. The only reason you're this like hoopla about it is because it's not coming out of your pocket. But if you had to pay for Baruch out of pocket with no financial aid, you would be thinking 3 times about what you're going to pick. Does that make sense?
yeah,
So think about this very
yeah,
thoroughly. I was 19 years old. I was 2 years into college by age 19. Kind of just like you, right? So just make sure the
yeah,
major you pick, and you probably just you already did all the gen ed class and stuff like that. So you can probably just, whatever degree you go into, you can start off right where you need to be started in. So whether it's finance, engineering, accounting, whatever it is, make sure it's something that you actually like and you want to do. If you read Warren Buffett very thoroughly, you'll also remember that he says, for example, it just happens to be that what I chose as a career happened to be good in this capitalist system that we actually have. But if I wanted to do something else, whether it's flip patties at McDonald's, I would have been doing that just as happy. It just happens to be that what he wanted to do makes him a lot of money. Happened to be that what I want to do makes me a lot of money also. But if I just wanted to be an accountant and make $40,000, $70,000, that would be fine. But making sure that I am actually happy. It's not about the amount of money that you make. It's about what you do with the money. It's not about the amount of time you have, but what you do with the time also. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Yeah, bro. Just look deeper, man. This is too surface level. You got to look deeper. This is serious stuff. This is your life. So take it seriously. Spend more than 40 minutes looking at this stuff, and make sure, write down those top 10 majors, and make sure the one you pick is the one you like the most. And as far as YouTube, how many books have you read so far in finance?
on finance, uh, not much, probably like four,
Read more.
right near 4 or 5.
Read more and start by posting, for example, like book. I did a lot of book reviews in the beginning because I was reading so much and I was learning so much. Remember, bro, just like you call me and you trust my word, if I told you some BS stuff, I would not be able to sleep at night. So you have to make sure whatever you're gonna tell somebody, because you have that power when you start posting a video. If one person watches your video and you give them wrong information, that's a problem. You can make mistakes, that's fine. But if you do things the wrong way just because, that's a problem. You feel me?
Mhm.
That's the whole idea. But you're 19 years old. You're getting things started. Build a life you're gonna be proud of. Don't build a life you're gonna be content with. There's a big difference there. Pick a career that you actually like. There's always time for YouTube. Meaning, if you have 8 hours at school, 8 hours to sleep, that's 16. 2 hours to commute, that's 18. 2 plus 4, that's 6 hours still to do YouTube every single day. Right? So the time is still there. You can still do both things, but don't go into a career just because you heard Warren Buffett say it, or you heard Tommy Bryson did it, or you this or that. And by the way, a lot of the times when you get this idea, there's something called confirmation bias. So it's kind of like, you have a car. You don't have a car in New York, right? No, you don't have a car.
Yeah.
You have a car?
Yeah.
What you got a car for? You live in the Bronx? Where do you live?
Bronx. I'm in the Bronx.
What do you have a car for? So you got the 4 train, takes you straight over there. You're wasting money, man.
Not for just school, but like I also train jujitsu down in Mount Vernon.
Oh,
down in Yonkers.
Nice. So it saves you time. That's good. Is the car paid off?
Yeah. Car's good.
Okay, good.
Got it full.
Your parents gave it to you?
Yeah, they paid half. I paid half.
So it's fully yours, fully paid off. There's no down payment, no payments on it monthly, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so you're good, man. So look, yeah, so you're good. Where was I going with that point? I forgot.
You had said no, I think you were about to start speaking again on the college thing. You were about to say something about the college. That's why you brought up the car.
The car led to the college. I think I've lost my train of thought. But overall, man, just get started. That's the idea. That's all it is. And keep reading books. Do reviews on the books you read, and keep reading information. I'm not intelligent or smart because of the years I've lived. I'm intelligent and smart because of all the information I've learned from people that were here before me. Make sense?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. I was talking about you and how you got this, man. I was saying that you're young, you're 19 years old, you're figuring things out, and plus you have a car. That means you can get jobs, so you can just do whatever you have to do, man. So you're going to college, great. You take the time off to get a job, great. You do the YouTube thing, great. And you focus on whatever you want to do, but make sure that the degree you pick actually makes sense for you. Okay? Any more questions?
Got it. No, that's all.
All right, man.
Answered it in abundance. I got it. Thank you.
All right, man. And don't believe anything I say. Do your own research. Practice that, okay? You have to do the scientific method when it comes to all this stuff.
Got it.
All right, bro. See you later. Welcome to the long-term team. These calls are not a one-time thing. If you want to call me back, feel free to do so while the calls are still free. Peace out.
Have a good one.
You too, bro. All right, guys. So that right there was Mike, and I keep hearing about people picking degrees like they pick candy up at a store. That's not how it's supposed to be done. I'm tired of hearing about people setting up their lives doing something that they don't even like just to initiate, or while something that they actually do want to do actually pops up out of nowhere. I don't like that concept. I did that exact same thing, and that's why I can tell you it's not the best thing to actually do. What you want to do is, if you're going to go to college and spend 4 years of your time there and a bunch of money, although it might not be your money, for example, it's important whatever you pick actually makes sense. I'm a big fan of having mentors and all this stuff, but even Einstein says you have to learn to think for yourself. Even Warren Buffett says you have to learn to think for yourself. Although you might have your mentors, they have their ways of thinking, you have to use the scientific method. Anyone that really wants to share something with you, they will teach you. They will not tell you. They will teach you how to do exactly what you want to know how to do, right? So my video is not about, oh, here's how you do this. It's about here is how you do this. okay? Here's the whole system that I use to implement this into my life. Great people are great teachers. People that just do things for you often just want to make money from you. People that teach you, they want to have you learn how to do it so that way you know exactly what to do. And by the way, you know, there are skills that you're going to need as an entrepreneur sometimes that you can just pay for. So if what you really want to do is like build a business and you want to build that business, but you like, oh, accountant's important, you don't got to learn accounting. You can learn the basics, but you can just hire an accountant to do that stuff for you, right? So it's about making sure whatever you do pick makes sense for your life and the way you actually want to set it up. That's what makes sense so much, you know? And by the way, I'll use this example right here. You know, my editor, Danny, for example, he's into, for example, I think it's like software engineer or like app design and all this stuff. So if you're going to go to college, would you pick something that has nothing to do with that? Right? By the way, you have to pick a career, obviously, that makes sense financially because it's an investment too. But the point is, you go into something that makes sense with that so you can be happy doing that job, graduate, make money, right? But why would you like do something you don't like while you try to do something you do like, hoping that this thing that's actually it's actually very hard to pop up on YouTube, right? It might happen, might not happen, but the odds are very small. So why do this one thing that you like and doing this thing you actually don't like? Make sure you like both things. So go into something that actually makes sense for you. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. If you guys want to schedule a call, feel free to do so. Calls are free, by the way, for right now. So link is down below. Schedule a call today as calls are still free. On top of that, also, if you guys actually support this channel, make sure to go ahead and like this video. On top of that, also subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified. On top of that, also DM me on Instagram, Bryson. And before I go, here is another video right here, and click my face right here. See you guys tomorrow, and as always, peace.